Jennifer Hall was the teacher everyone admired until shocking discoveries revealed she was hiding a dangerous cocaine addiction right inside her classroom. Jennifer Hall had always been admired for her energy and enthusiasm as a high school science teacher. At 32, she had a reputation for making even the most complex lessons engaging and memorable. Students were drawn to her dynamic style, and parents often praised her creativity and dedication. Yet beneath the surface, a dangerous secret was beginning to take hold. Jennifer's vibrant public persona masked a life that was becoming increasingly chaotic and out of control. Late nights in the school lab, mysterious deliveries arriving at her classroom, and phone calls that she took in secret began to hint at a hidden life that few could have imagined. Outside of school, Jennifer's apartment reflected the turmoil of her private life. Clothes were scattered across the floor, dishes piled up in the sink, and the once tidy space had descended into clutter and disorder. Neighbors had noticed her pacing in the streets late at night, often appearing restless and agitated. What they did not know was that Jennifer had developed a serious dependency on stimulants. The drugs gave her bursts of energy that allowed her to stay awake for days at a time, grading papers, preparing elaborate experiments, and sometimes wandering the school hallways in the middle of the night. The very energy that made her a captivating teacher was now being fueled by a dangerous and growing addiction she could barely control. At school, her behavior began to change in ways that students and colleagues could sense but could not fully explain. Her hands trembled during class, her eyes darted nervously around the room, and her movements became unpredictable. Students whispered about her erratic energy, noting that she sometimes seemed almost hyper-focused, then suddenly distracted. Teachers noticed the subtle signs she was increasingly forgetful, sometimes skipping important meetings or arriving late to staff events. A substitute teacher, filling in for Jennifer one day, mentioned a faint chemical smell in the classroom, something out of place but untraceable. These anomalies were easy to dismiss at first. After all, Jennifer had always been unconventional, often staying late and working tirelessly to make her lessons extraordinary. But the behaviors were the first indications of a dangerous spiral that no one yet understood. As the weeks went on, the situation escalated. Jennifer began hiding substances in her desk, using her free periods to feed her addiction, often slipping away from supervision under the guise of schoolwork. Her dependency was growing at an alarming rate, and her ability to maintain the illusion of a perfect, energetic teacher was slowly unraveling. It would not take long before the hidden truth would be exposed, shattering the trust of students, parents, and colleagues alike, and revealing the dangerous consequences of addiction hidden behind a mask of brilliance. It was an ordinary Thursday morning when the first sign that something was seriously wrong with Jennifer Hall became impossible to ignore. Staff members noticed her pacing near the science lab, her movements erratic, her eyes wide and unfocused. She muttered under her breath, glancing at the clock repeatedly, as though fighting an invisible urgency. The school resource officer, seeing her agitation, quietly alerted the principal. What began as concern over unusual behavior quickly escalated into suspicion, and the administration decided to conduct a routine inspection of Jennifer's workspace. The search revealed a scene that shocked everyone. Hidden inside notebooks, beneath stacks of lesson plans, and tucked away in drawers, were small, carefully wrapped bags of white powder. Among them were tiny straws and other paraphernalia indicating drug use, all concealed within the very space meant to nurture young minds. The discovery confirmed the worst fears. Jennifer had been secretly consuming cocaine while on the job, turning her classroom into a hidden environment for addiction. Evidence quickly mounted. Surveillance footage captured Jennifer slipping into empty classrooms during breaks, furtively handling small items and constantly glancing around as though fearful of being caught. Her once vibrant energy, admired by students and colleagues, was now revealed as a dangerous symptom of dependency. Staff members, parents, and students began to piece together the small signs they had noticed over the past month's: erratic behavior, excessive bursts of energy, and sudden disappearances during lessons. These patterns, once dismissed as eccentricity or dedication, were now understood as warning signs of a growing problem that had been hiding in plain sight. The reaction within the school was immediate and tense. Rumors began to spread among staff and students, fueling anxiety and fear. Parents demanded answers, worried not only about Jennifer's health but about the safety of the students under her care. The administration, suddenly facing public scrutiny, called in law enforcement to conduct a full investigation. The school that had once been seen as a safe, structured environment was now under a cloud of suspicion, and the community struggled to reconcile the image of a beloved teacher with the shocking reality of her actions. By the end of the day, the discovery had set off a chain reaction. Teachers whispered in hallways, students speculated in classrooms, and parents filled the offices with questions and concerns. The situation had escalated from concern to crisis, exposing the hidden consequences of addiction and the vulnerability of a system that had failed to detect the danger sooner. The once trusted figure of authority had been unmasked, and the ripple effects of Jennifer Hall's secret life were only beginning to unfold, setting the stage for a deeper investigation that would reveal just how far her addiction had infiltrated the school. Investigators quickly moved to piece together the full scope of Jennifer Hall's secret life. What initially appeared to be a case of a teacher struggling with personal issues soon revealed a far more disturbing reality. Through a meticulous review of emails, online purchases, and financial transactions, authorities uncovered that Jennifer had been ordering cocaine online for months. Some of the orders were delivered directly to the school, cleverly disguised among educational supplies or personal packages. Records showed frequent purchases, often timed to coincide with the school week, suggesting that she had been consuming the drug during teaching hours. The examination of Jennifer's personal belongings added another layer of shock. In her apartment, investigators found hidden compartments containing small amounts of cocaine, syringes, and paraphernalia that indicated long-term and organized usage. Even her car, parked in the school lot, held traces of the substance. The investigation painted a picture of a teacher who had carefully concealed her addiction while allowing it to infiltrate every aspect of her professional and personal life. The vibrant energy she exhibited in class had been fueled by stimulants, masking the dangerous dependency that was taking over her life. Interviews with students and colleagues revealed how deeply the effects of her behavior had been felt. Some students admitted that they had noticed changes in her mood and energy levels months before the discovery. Teachers recalled incidents when Jennifer would stay up all night preparing for lessons, exhibiting an almost superhuman level of focus and activity, only to collapse afterward in exhaustion. What once seemed like dedication was now understood as the frantic attempt of an addict to maintain control over a life slowly slipping away. The case soon drew the attention of local news outlets. Footage obtained from the school's security system showing Jennifer handling small packets of the substance in empty classrooms was broadcast widely. The community struggled to reconcile the image of a beloved, energetic teacher with the reality of her actions. Parents demanded accountability, questioning how a school could have allowed such behavior to go unnoticed for so long. Public opinion was sharply divided. Some sympathized with Jennifer's struggle with addiction, while others were outraged that a teacher could jeopardize the safety of students. The investigation also uncovered a surprising twist. Jennifer had begun sharing drugs with a select few students, offering substances under the guise of trust or mentorship. This revelation intensified the sense of betrayal felt by the community. What had initially seemed like an isolated case of addiction had escalated into a story of manipulation and danger. The classroom, a place meant for learning and safety, had become a site of concealment and risk. The investigation left everyone questioning how someone could maintain a double life with such precision, while the ramifications of her actions threatened to shatter the trust of an entire school community. The courtroom was tense as Jennifer Hall faced the full weight of the charges against her. The trial drew intense public interest, with local news covering every development and parents of students following the proceedings closely. Prosecutors painted a detailed picture of a teacher whose hidden addiction had compromised not only her own life, but also the safety and well-being of the students entrusted to her care. They described how she had brought cocaine into the school, used it during instructional hours, and concealed her actions with carefully calculated measures. Witnesses testified to her erratic behavior, noting how her once vibrant energy had veered into unpredictable and often frightening territory. Expert witnesses explained the effects of stimulant addiction, illustrating how it could mimic hyperproductivity and create a false impression of dedication. Jennifer's frantic bursts of energy, her late nights preparing lessons, and her obsessive attention to detail had all been symptoms of a serious dependency rather than exemplary teaching practices. The courtroom listened as the experts detailed the psychological and physical toll of prolonged stimulant use, helping jurors understand how Jennifer's actions were both deliberate and driven by compulsion. As the trial progressed, a shocking revelation emerged that intensified public outrage. Investigators testified that Jennifer had begun sharing small quantities of drugs with a few students she considered exceptional or trusted. The disclosure transformed the case from a story of personal addiction into one of exploitation and manipulation. Parents who had once admired her ingenuity and dedication now struggled to comprehend how someone could betray the trust of children so profoundly. The narrative shifted sharply, highlighting the danger of a teacher abusing her position of authority for personal gain. Throughout the proceedings, Jennifer maintained a calm and collected exterior, seemingly unaffected by the testimony and evidence stacked against her. Yet forensic evidence told a starkly different story. Emails, purchase records, and hidden notes documented her careful orchestration of a network of drug use and concealment. Her classroom, once a place of inspiration and learning, had doubled as a hidden space for addiction, and in some cases, exploitation. The contrast between her public persona and the hidden reality left the community in disbelief, questioning how someone so trusted could engage in such dangerous conduct. By the end of the trial, the gravity of Jennifer Hall's actions was undeniable. The case sparked broader discussions about oversight in schools, the pressures faced by educators, and the subtle ways addiction can manifest behind professional success. It served as a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that even those in positions of trust may harbor secrets capable of endangering the lives of those around them. The courtroom drama left the community shaken, with lessons that extended far beyond the legal proceedings. The trial concluded with a verdict that sent shockwaves through the community. Jennifer Hall was found guilty on multiple counts, including possession of a controlled substance on school grounds and distribution to minors. The courtroom was heavy with tension as the sentence was read: several years in prison and permanent revocation of her teaching license. For many, the punishment felt both necessary and inevitable, a clear statement that the betrayal of trust and endangerment of students would not be tolerated. In the days following the verdict, the school and surrounding community struggled to process the ramifications. Parents expressed relief that the legal system had intervened, but many also voiced lingering anger and disbelief. Teachers and staff grappled with the knowledge that they had unknowingly worked alongside someone whose private life had masked a dangerous addiction. School administrators moved quickly to implement stricter policies for monitoring staff behavior, including routine checks and mandatory reporting procedures. Counseling services were provided to students who had been exposed to Jennifer's actions, helping them cope with the shock of learning that a trusted authority figure had endangered their safety. Despite the legal closure, the emotional impact lingered. Former students wrestled with feelings of confusion and betrayal, recalling the moments when Jennifer's brilliance and enthusiasm had inspired them, now juxtaposed against the reality of her hidden addiction. Parents became more vigilant, questioning not only Jennifer's conduct but also the systems in place that had allowed her to conceal her behavior for so long. The community began to understand the broader lessons of the case: how addiction can hide behind charm and competence, and how unchecked trust can sometimes lead to dangerous consequences. The story of Jennifer Hall also served as a cautionary tale for other educators. School districts across the region reviewed policies on substance abuse, mental health support, and early warning systems, seeking to prevent similar incidents in the future. Professional organizations held discussions about the pressures faced by teachers, emphasizing the importance of support networks and intervention before addiction could escalate to the point of endangering others. Jennifer's case became an example cited in training sessions and seminars, a stark reminder of the fine line between dedication and obsession, between energy and dependency. Years later, the memory of Jennifer Hall's actions still resonated. The incident remained a point of discussion among parents, educators, and former students, a haunting example of how appearances can deceive. The school itself gradually rebuilt trust, but the lessons of vigilance, accountability, and awareness endured. Jennifer Hall's legacy was no longer defined by her innovative teaching methods, but by the sobering truth that brilliance can sometimes mask danger, and that the consequences of hidden addiction can ripple far beyond the individual, affecting an entire community in ways that are impossible to forget.